with man-to-man coverage.
4th and 3, game on the line. Williams lofting one for a dude. He caught it! He caught it!
Kamara in at tailback. He's got 5 rushing touchdowns. And now 6. Tied for the most all time.
You're listening to the world's #1 football podcast. Now, with more insights on all things football, here are your hosts, Ben Hanson, Matt Hartman, and Ryan Matthews.
Just Ben and Matt this week. No Ryan Matthews. Usually we like to kick off the show where we ask everyone how they're doing. I would ask Ryan how he's doing right now, but his answer would be very, very bad. He's doing good. Like, I don't want to say like all is well for the most part, but let's just say he went to Chipotle and it's not sitting too well. So he's sitting somewhere else. So Matt, how you doing?
Chat, I am doing great. I'm excited for today. We have some news. Man, like that's pretty fun. That was, I think, like we could get right into the trade because I have to imagine that's where we're gonna start. But
that's exactly where we're gonna start.
We need to we're gonna go over this. Don't look at it too fast, guys. You have to learn in real time from us how everybody else learned in real time. All right. So first Jalen Ramsey's traded. All right. So Jalen Ramsey's traded.
He broke it himself. He said, I break my own news. I'm getting traded. That's all.
I'm getting traded.
Steelers. That's it.
And it was like 10 minutes go by and Pro Football Talk, Mike Florio is like, he does his column and he like randomly tweets out. He's like, yeah, I wonder what the compensation is. And I'm like, yeah, that's a good idea. And then Minkah Fitzpatrick is traded for Jalen Ramsey and it was a swap for a second.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Jonnu Smith was in the trade, and it was a 2027 pick swap. So
20 minutes later,
over the course of a half hour, we get this trade. And Ben, I'll let you go first. Actually, I'll go over the money stuff, and then, I'll go over the nerd money stuff. That kind of is the implication of these trades, because usually when you see multiple guys get moved, money goes around. So. Starting with Ramsey, he gets a 1.5 raise through the Steelers. He's extended already with the Dolphins through 2028. It becomes non-guaranteed after this season. If he's cut post June 1st next offseason, it would save the Steelers money. Jonnu Smith also gets a 1-year, $12 million extension. He was on the books for $4 million this year, so that puts him at a total of 2 for 16. And $12 million a year is kind of in like the Dalton Schultz, Cole Kmet tier of like tight ends paid. So I know they paid a pretty good price for a good player on that extension. And then Minkah goes back to Miami with a 2-year deal, non-guaranteed left, $15.5 million salary this year, $17.6 million in 2026, and cutting him outright before free agency next year would save them almost $11 million, and the same thing if he were traded at the deadline. I think that's a possibility. I think it saves a little less, like $6 million, but yeah, that's the money stuff. That's the nerd stuff. You go on, Ben.
Yeah. So in real time for those first 10 minutes, it was just Jalen Ramsey. I was like, yeah, I mean, it's a good trade. I'm like, it doesn't really make any sense. I remember like explicitly texting, the two of y'all and being like, they're really going all in on this team and hoping Aaron Rodgers is going to be that guy with no backup plan because there's no one for them to fall back on. But I was like, okay, I mean, at the end of the day, it's Jalen Ramsey. You're getting a good corner. Good for them. And then you see it was for Minkah. And I was like, what? Which just made my head hurt even more. You're just swapping these players at this point for whatever, like, for no reason at this point. And then from the Dolphins standpoint of it all, I had, again, told you this, Matt. If you were going to pay a safety $15 million.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't you just pay Javon Holland $15 million? Like, what was the point of bringing in, at this point, going off of just last season, the worst safety for the same amount of money? It just didn't make any sense at all. And then the Jonnu Smith stuff came through, which, like, was also head scratching because they already have Pat Freiermuth, who they seem pretty happy with. I mean, Pat's not like an elite tight end or anything, but he's, not bad. And then you're like, Arthur Smith, you dirty dog. Why can't you stay away from Jonnu Smith? Like, it was just weird. And then it left the Dolphins in a weird tight end situation, which we'll get into in just a second. But it was just, overall, it just seemed like these two teams were bored, in like the dead week, like week 4, 5, 6 of fantasy, when you're like, oh, this is boring. Let's make a trade.
Let's switch it up.
That's kind of what this felt like it was. It just didn't make much sense. But I mean, what was going through your head?
Going through my head in the moment, just like, what is happening? Why is this happening? Who cares? And then over the course of like the day, I took it in because it was before the NBA free agency. So I was already like NBA pilled, but no, this brought my attention back. And basically, I think the Steelers are just swapping out their center field post safety for a nickel who can tackle. That's kind of how I interpret this. Jalen's basically a 1-year rental. Like, he's 3 years older than Minkah. I would argue Ramsey's probably a better player at his specific position. I think it's arguable. Like, if this was just Minkah, if this was just Minkah for Jalen straight up, it would have been even more awkward to me because it would just be the Dolphins are trying to maneuver money around, and they just wanted to get rid of Jalen Ramsey because he's just not going to play for you. So let's go get someone who will play for us at a position of need. And the Steelers, like you said, they're pushing the chips in the middle of the table on Aaron Rodgers, who's 40. I don't know. I don't know what to think of this team. I don't. But then again, Robert Mays of the Athletic Show, I listened to the next day. He made a good point where it's like the Steelers are doing all these moves, and like Aaron Rodgers 1-year deal, Darius Slay 1-year deal, and trading for Ramsey but giving up Minkah. It's not really sacrificing their future, because with the George Pickens trade, with Najee Harris, Justin Fields, and Russell Wilson all being compensatory free agents, they could have 12 draft picks next season. So it doesn't stop them from getting the quarterback after Rodgers. It's just kind of pushing the chips in on the Rodgers team. So that kind of feels like a Rodgers like handshake deal, where he's like, all right, I'll play for you guys. I'll be the quarterback, but you better go get me some help so I can go out, the way I want to go out. Whether that's making the playoffs, whether that's, hosting a playoff game. I don't know. I don't think it's winning a Super Bowl. I think that's long, past for both parties, Steelers and Rodgers. But yeah, it's a weird trade. But when you look at it from that lens, for me, it's like, well, the Steelers just wanted a nickel who tackles, and they have the safeties to get rid of Minkah and not feel the losses too heavily.
Yeah. No, I tend to agree. And I guess my issue with the Steelers, it wasn't much affected by this trade because, like you said, this doesn't really affect their future. But in the same light, they don't really have a plan to begin with. Obviously, this didn't affect. It's not like they had a plan and now this is all thrown out the window. They've never had a plan. It seems like they still don't have a plan. And I'm just worried what life post Aaron Rodgers is going to be. I mean, maybe they go out and sign another, 40-year-old quarterback.
I mean, get ready for the notification in March when the Steelers are interested in Kirk Cousins. Just get ready. Like, I can say all these things and that, like, oh, the Steelers are going to go through a reset because they have all these picks and they have they have flexibility. The Steelers are going to Steeler. And I think if they can get a middle-of-the-pack quarterback to win 9 games with, they're just going to keep doing it, even as infuriating as it has to be for Steelers. It's angry for me. So it's like, I can't imagine what Steelers fans are going through. And I'll stretch this into the part, but like Adam Schefter kind of lobbing that grenade in, like teams think TJ Watt is now available.
That's what I was going to say, yeah.
1 year left on his deal. He hasn't been reporting. And could you imagine from like June 30th is when this trade happens. If they trade TJ Watt before the season, getting rid of Minkah Fitzpatrick and TJ Watt, two of like the staples of the decade for this team, for the Aaron Rodgers experiment. Like that's what they would essentially be doing if they traded TJ Watt. I don't think they're going to. I think TJ's waiting for the number. I think he's waiting for Micah to get paid so he can get paid more than Micah. That's my personal belief, but yeah. Your thoughts on TJ Watt?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to get traded either. But partially is because I don't know what his trade value is going to, like, I love TJ.
Mm-hmm.
He's 30 years old on the last year of his contract. So even if you choose to move on from TJ, you're not getting, I would be shocked if you get a first round pick for him. And you don't move off of a guy like TJ Watt for nothing less than at least a first at this point. So I'm with you there. I think TJ stays, but it was very weird that, he was just like, well, now that this trade's gone through, TJ Watt. So, but speaking of the other hole that this had caused now, with the Dolphins, and this really had gotten everyone super, super excited on Twitter and X or whatever you want to call it. They're like, we don't have a tight end anymore. What are we going to do? Well, you just traded a future 6th-round pick for Darren Waller and a 7th, which, what are we doing? He quit football. Like literally 2 weeks ago, he had a podcast where he's like, I didn't have the love for the game anymore. 2 weeks ago, he went on a podcast and said, it was time for me. I don't have the love for the game anymore. And the Dolphins were like, we're going to trade for that guy. The dude had the failing rap career. Like, it just, it doesn't make any sense to me. It really doesn't. And then, like, some Dolphins fans are trying to defend it because they're like, well, it's not like we do anything with the 6th-round pick anyways. Yeah, but you're just giving away a 6. You're just moving back around for no reason. I would be shocked if Darren Waller was a plus player at this point in his career. He was already bad with the Giants. That was 2 years ago. When he, what are we doing? He hasn't played football. I don't know. Your thoughts?
If there was any play caller who was creative enough that like he's like, we could get rid of Jonnu Smith because I could work with Darren Waller. It's Mike McDaniel to me. So I'm intrigued with this marriage. I mean, like Jonnu Smith was almost an 1,000-yard receiver. So I mean, I'm not saying Darren Waller is going to be anything close to that, but they had to do something. I think they did the right thing. They didn't like just a little mini pick swap and go get a guy who can just be serviceable. Again, like the money's fine. I think he's likely an expiring. I didn't really look into this too much because I didn't think Darren Waller was moving the needle for the Dolphins team that we talked about last week. All three of us kind of simultaneously, I asked the question of like, where do you see the Dolphins? Do you see them as a better shot to be a playoff team or a better shot to be a top 5 pick? And these moves didn't change my opinion from top 5 pick. So.
Yeah. It's 1 year, $5 million for those who are interested in what he will be making, which is just
which is like the equal
stuff.
to Jonnu's contract this year.
Yeah, right there with you, Ryan. It was something. So, that being said, the two final things we'll kind of just run through it. There's really no other need to dig into it. But 2 cornerbacks have found themselves in off-the-field trouble. 49ers cornerback Deommodore Lenoir, who is a very, very good player, got arrested for resisting arrest in L.A. Or I think it was L.A. It could have been San Fran, but I'm pretty sure it was L.A. Regardless, he was arrested for resisting arrest. And Maxwell Harrison is being sued for SA charges going all the way back to 2021. So a couple cornerbacks are finding themselves in trouble right now as more stuff comes out, regardless of whatever the outcome is, we will keep you guys updated. But that being said, let's go on and dig right into the schedule prediction, and we will start with Matt's favorite team, the Giants. His favorite quarterback. I know the quarterback he wanted the entire time in the draft is on the Giants. Anyways.
All right. So the Giants. I always preface this with the last season results. 3-14 last year, 4th in the division.
Woo.
They missed the playoffs. Offensive EPA per play, they were 28th in the league. Their pass block and run block rate, both 26th and 27th, respectively, or unrespectively, depending on how you feel about them. And then their defensive EPA per play was 29th at .071. Their pass rush win rate and run stop win rate, according to like ESPN Analytics, was really good. 13th in pass rush and run stop was 10th. So the analytics kind of loved on them a little bit. They bring in Russ. Yeah.
Quickly, but you were it could not have come out at a perfect, like more perfect timing. Right now, as you speak, there's a report coming out that there are many people within the Giants organization that prefer Jameis Winston to be the starting quarterback over Russell Wilson. Anyways, I just thought it was like literally 30 seconds ago that report just came out. I thought it was perfect. Anyways,
I'd probably start Russ. I'll just say that.
You should. Yeah.
But again, we'll get into their quarterback room a little bit later. But I have Russ's statistics here. .019 EPA per play, was 21st in the league, just right at that average mark. But he was 26th in success rate, 43%. That's Russ for you. Like he's not going to work on schedule, he's not going to work on time, but man, can he deliver some explosives here and there. Their offseason was eventful, much more eventful than I remembered. They brought back Darius Slayton for 3 years, $36 million. They brought back Greg Van Roten at right guard, who is like 35, and he's going to start at right guard again, according to our lads. Those were the two main keeps of main snap counts guys. And then their additions, of course, obviously Russell Wilson at the top of the list. 1 year, $10.5 million. Jameis Winston, 2 years, $8 million. The two big spendings was Paulson Adebo, corner, 3 years, $54 million. And Javon Holland, safety, 3 years, $45 million. And then lobbing in James Hudson, a swing tackle, 2 years, $12 million. Chauncey Golston from Dallas, 3 years, $18 million. And then Roy Robertson Harris, interior defensive lineman, 2 years, $9 million. All those guys on our lads projected as starters. And then their draft, of course, their draft was eventful. They drafted Abdul Carter with the 3rd overall pick. They tried to move up to 1 to get Cam Ward. The Titans said no, and they should. And then later in that first round, the Giants traded up to 25 with the Houston Texans, sending 34, 99, and a 2026 third-round pick to select Jackson Dart out of Ole Miss. Darius Alexander they took in the 3rd round, the first pick in the 3rd round, I believe. And then I'll throw in Cam Scatabo in the 4th round. And then Marcus Mbow, a guy I preached really highly on this podcast. He was my first 51st overall player, and he fell to round 5. So, and I'm pretty sure he's listed as a tackle on our lad. So that's interesting because I only projected him as an interior guy. Their departures weren't really significant. Jason Pinnock, their safety, goes to the Niners, 976 snaps out the door. Those will be directly replaced by Javon Holland. Adoree Jackson out the door, 426 snaps. Again, same thing with Paulson Adebo, going to replace those snaps. Azeez Ojulari, 391 snaps, going to be replaced by Chauncey Golston. And then lastly, I had to mention him, Drew Lock, quarterback. I didn't put a snap count. I just put he beat the Colts. I just had to mention that.
Yeah.
It ruined their season, really. I think. Would you, if you're the Giants right now, this is a fun little hypothetical. If you're the Giants and you have Abdul Carter, would you give it all away to lose that Colts game to get Cam Ward?
Probably.
Yeah, I agree. And there's second part to this question. I was going over Let's see if I can find it. So, oh man, I lost it. But no, there was a trade. You remember the Hard Knocks last year with the Giants, their offseason Hard Knocks? There was a trade that Joe Schoen called Elliott Wolf, the Patriots, about, trying to get up to 3 to take Drake May. And he offered 6. He offered a 2025 first, and he offered like late round picks in that draft. Elliott Wolf declined. He said, like, listen, you got to give me your first, second, third this year. You got to give me your first and second next year. It was never going to happen, but I like thought about that. Like, again, another hypothetical. Would you, if you're the Giants, would you rather have Drake May or have Neighbors and Abdul Carter? And like, frankly, I'll throw in Darius Alexander here. Like, and even like this year's second, like they wouldn't have to trade up for Jackson Dart. So it's interesting. How far are you willing to go to get your quarterback? It's just the thought process.
It might be crazy. I think of taking Neighbors, Abdul Carter, Jackson Dart.
Yeah.
Over Drake May.
I don't fault you because I'm like, I called Abdul Carter generational on this podcast, and I still believe
I really think he's, yeah.
And I think Malik Neighbors he's a star in the making. Like his flexibility in the air, his ball skills, ridiculous. But that leads me into my season outlook question. WTF is your offensive expectation? The 2024 Giants were, again, I mentioned 28th in EPA per play. Their only starter change they made going into this season was the quarterback position, bringing in Russell Wilson, trading up for Jackson Dart, and signing Jameis Winston. 3 guys who probably aren't starters, right? Like, if they're your starters, outside of like Dart, because you took him in the first round, I view him as a 4th-round prospect. So that's my opinion. I don't view any of these guys as long-term starters or solutions. You get into like their defense is going to like it's going to have to overplay its stay. Like the amount of assets put into this defense, like I have to go through it. I have to find it. It's just looking at their depth chart, man. The amount of guys that oh man.
I mean, you have Brian Burns, Thibodeau, Abdul Carter, Paulson Debo, Newman, Javon Holland. You know, can Deontay Banks have a bounce back
just think
year
about those guys
compared to what he was last year?
Outside of their, like, because they're going to run a 4-2-5 front, I imagine Carter and Burns are your edge rushers. They traded a second for Burns and gave him a massive contract. They're going to give Lawrence another massive contract because they have to. He's one of the best defensive tackles in the league. Bobby Okereke was one of their, like, he was an off-ball linebacker signing a few years ago. Tyler Newman is a 2nd-round pick. Deontay Banks is a 1st-round pick. Andrew Phillips is a 3rd-round pick. And Paulson Adebo and Javon Holland, I just mentioned, were 2 of the highest paid at their position this offseason. So I was looking at this, doing all the research, like, oh man, I kind of like their defense. Yeah, no crap. They have spent every major asset outside of the Malik Neighbors pick on defense. And even like throwing in the Jackson Dart pick, trading up for him. Those are the 2 guys that they've used, like the 2 assets of capital they've really used on the offense. So you look like you had to say something.
Yeah. How much of that do you think is because they say we have faith in Brian Daboll to figure out whatever we're going to throw out on offense? And we said, we have faith. We hired you to take care of this because we think you are one of the best offensive minds in the league. Go take care of it. We're going to spend and I'm not saying that's the smart way to do it, but my guess would be is that is why. As dumb as it is, because that offensive line still scares the living bejeebus out of me, but
and it's year 4 of this. It's year 4. Yeah. So like I think there's like a constitution of a little bit bad luck here. Like Drew Lock wins the game, has literally a perfect football game. I remember when the stats came out that like he was in comparison to like 2018 Mahomes with the performance he had against the Colts to win that game. And so they miss out on Cam Ward because of that. They miss out on Drake May because like I feel like they had a game a few years ago too to miss out on that. They have the weird Daniel Jones year where he wins a playoff game, so they have to sign him, tag Saquon to kind of get rid of Saquon.
That was always dumb though. We all knew that was a dumb decision at the time though.
And that's the thing is like that's how the quarterback is. Like, well, he won the playoff game, we got to stick with it. You know, kind of mentality. But back to the defense really quick, and then we can get into the schedule predictions. Their plan, right? As I mentioned, is we're going to survive on good defense and kind of sacrifice the offense. That's basically what I see from this team. Is like maybe we get Dart thrown in there a little bit later, and he can figure it out. He runs he plays a few games like Penix did last year. That's kind of how I view him. Like, can he play 4 games and have some optimism and save Brian Daboll's job? But the last time the Giants were a top 20 team on defense in terms of EPA per play, 2020. They were 16th.
No kidding.
Joe Judge was a head coach. Daniel Jones was in his second year. Saquon tore his ACL in Soldier Field. They won 6 games after starting 1-7, and that was the year the Eagles Sunday Night Football fiasco happened, where they benched Jalen Hurts. And I was interested. Yeah. And then I was interested. Well, if that was 16th, when's the last time they were top 15? 2016. Eli Manning was a starting quarterback. They won 11 games. They were top 5 in EPA per play on defense that year. And then the boat picture happened. So it's like I was going down this rabbit hole of the Giants. Like, they have not been good at anything the last decade. So I'm really interested. The sacrificial lamb of the offense I don't love. And I had to steal a quote from Dodgeball, one of my favorite movies. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him. All I can do is throw my hands up and go, this is what you built. All right, figure it out. But without further ado, I think we gotta get into the schedule prediction.
Yes. Yeah, we'll dig into it. We can go, week 1 through 5, and then 6 through 9.
I always like when we do it in, sets of 4.
We do sets of 4. Yeah.
We'll do the sets of 4. Yeah. We'll do 5, 4, 4, 4 because of the bye week. That's a good idea.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I'll read Ryan's record for the Giants, and I'll be like, this is Ryan's, and this is mine. So we're going to start off with Ryan's record with the Giants through the first 5 weeks. He has them, you know what? I'll make it nice and easy. This is both me and Ryan's record through the first 5 weeks. We both have them losing to the Commanders, Cowboys, Chiefs, and Chargers. I am very, very sorry, Matt, but we both have them beating the Saints as well. For me, it was just a matter of defense. It really was just a matter of defense. It's both bad offenses, and I prefer the Giants' defense over. So, but we both have them starting off 1-4.
I have them losing the first 4 as well. And then Tyler Shuck breaks their heart. They're going to lose 5 in a row. They're going to lose to the Saints on the road. But this is this is a crossroads moment. If they start 0-5 and they have a home Thursday night game against Philadelphia, Brian Daboll, you might not make it out of the stadium. You might not make it out. Sirianni will go for the throat, man. I give him that. He's an MFer with that stuff. And I think he would go for the throat. I think Saquon would try and run for 200 yards. And if that were to happen, I could see Brian Daboll losing that game and being fired on that Friday. I honestly, because I think these two guys, Shane and Daboll, are walking on the thinnest piece of ice I have ever seen. And if they're 0-6, which with this schedule, man, that's another thing with the schedule. They have to face the NFC North. They have to face the AFC West, and the NFC East has 3 playoff teams to me. Maybe they don't all make the playoffs, but you get what I'm saying.
Playoff
this is a brutal, brutal schedule, man, and I have them starting 0-6. And I'll finish it off for that strip. I have them beating Denver. If Daboll is fired, I give them the interim coach bump. They will lose to Philly again. And then they'll lose to San Francisco. They'll be 1-8 going into Week 10.
Oh gosh, that is rough. Well, I'll be honest. Me and Ryan again, we're right there with you. We're gonna have them going 1-8 as well through that point in the season. Me and Ryan both have them losing to the Eagles, Broncos, Eagles again, and Niners throughout that stretch. Rough. Like to open up that season with even those first 9 games, as you said, none of them really seem winnable outside of that Saints game. And that Saints game, it's really just going to be a suck off. I'm sorry, but like it's just a matter of like which team wants to lose less. Like that's how I imagine that game being. So it's just it's going to be rough. But yeah, we have them 1-8 at that point as well. So
all right, I'll get through the next 4. I wish Ryan was here. I have them losing to the Bears and then beating the Packers. And then losing both Detroit and New England going into the bye 2-11.
There you go. So Ryan has them losing out all 4 of these against the Bears, Packers, Lions, and Patriots. I have them losing all of them but the Patriots game. I'm going to have them beat the Patriots. Why? I don't know. It just seems like a game that they would win because they said, screw you, we wanted Drake May. So, yeah, still really rough. I have 2 wins for him so far. Ryan only has 1.
I have them beating the Commanders out of the bye and then losing out the rest of the schedule. 3-14. Maybe they get the first overall pick this year. Hopefully the tiebreakers fall their way. In my world, they would lose to the Saints, so I think that would give them the tiebreaker over the Saints for that pick. But if the Saints lose that many games, who knows? But yeah, you finish it off. I think I know where you guys are going to.
Yeah. Again, me and Ryan, we're right there with one another here. We have them losing to the Commanders, Vikings, and Raiders, but we both actually have them beating the Cowboys as well. So my records are going to look the exact same as yours. I have them going 3-14. Ryan is 1 game behind us, which I would have to imagine a 2-15 record is going to get you there with the first overall pick, but the Browns and Saints do exist. So it's not a guarantee, but again, man, it is just going to be rough. As you said, like you cannot expect much from the offense coming out of this team. A lot of their choices are I'm not a big fan of, right? Like that offensive line has been bad for a very long time, given there's been health issues, but to just run it back and say, well, let's hope everyone's healthy. And if everyone's healthy, we hope they're going to be good. And then, like, I hate to say it, I love, Cam Scadaboo and value. If he's the number 1 player on your board, go for it. But it made no sense for me, even that pick, because you just drafted Tracy, who just had an amazing rookie season. And then you turn around and invested a valuable draft pick into another running back, given different styles. Just weird choices all around from that front office. If you're a Giants fan, I'm sorry, but we can move on to the next team here.
I wanna wait.
Oh, wait.
I wanna lob in their over under. Their over under is 5.5, and it's -130 on the under. I think that's criminal.
Slam the under. Slam the under.
Yeah, I know you have to lay juice on this team, but seriously, I think
-130 is not too bad.
You absolutely have to just slam it. But I have a bold take. Even if I have them winning 3 games, I'm going to stand up for my guy, Malik Neighbors. I think Malik Neighbors leads the league in receptions and is top 3 in yards. If that
I can get behind that. Yeah. Because they have no Darius Slayton and I was at one point one of your guys, Wan'Dale Robinson. Really? Like, is that who he's going to be competing targets?
Wan'Dale Robinson caught the ball he caught the ball 100 times last year and had 700 yards. I don't think that guy's standing in the way.
It's just no. And then the only other one you have to worry about is Jalen Hyatt, and everyone, come on, he hasn't been productive either since being drafted. Shocker. But I agree with that. I really think Malik Neighbors is going to have a great year, and I picked him in fantasy, and I hope to get him again this year. But that's besides the point. We can move on to the next team here.
Let's get into the Commanders. So the Commanders last season, 12-5, second in the division, and they made it all the way to an NFC title game. Their offensive EPA per play, 0.138, which was fourth in the league behind the Ravens, the Bills, and I believe it might have been the Bucs. I can't remember, but it's one of the top offenses. Their pass block win rate was 9th, and their run block win rate was 2nd in the entire league at 74%. But this is where it kind of falls off a little bit. Their defensive EPA per play was 22nd. It was really scarily close to the Rams and Titans, and because of the wondrous run they go on in the playoffs, you kind of forget that this defense for most of the year was really just tested in a real way, and it just shows how impressive what Daniels did in one season, being top 5 in EPA per play as a rookie quarterback and winning 12 games. Their pass rush win rate was 43%, 7th, and their run stop win rate was 30% at 23rd. And then I mentioned Daniels, 0.202 EPA per play, which was 6th in the league, and then a 49.4 success rate, which was 13th. So his success rate was pretty low on average compared to his astounding EPA per play numbers, but again, it makes sense with all the explosives he can create on the ground and through the air. He's not a down-to-down player, but he's an explosive creator, which is kind of what you look for. Their offseason, they kept a lot of same guys, 1-year contracts again. Bobby Wagner re-signed. Andrew Wiley's going to play right tackle, even though they drafted one in the first round. Noah Igbenogany, he comes back as kind of a backup nickel for $1.5 million. Zach Ertz came back for $6 million. Noah Brown came back for $3 million. Cleveland Farrell came back for $2 million, and then Mariota, one of the richer brought backs, was $8 million to be backup quarterback. And then I had to, again, sometimes I got to add a new tab to this. Their trades. I have to mention their trades first before I get into anything free agency. Deebo Samuel traded from the Niners. They take on most of that cap this season. They sent out a 5th-round pick this year, a minuscule pick to them for a team that's pushing the chips in the table, and they certainly told us that when they traded for Laramie Tunsil. They sent out a 2025 3rd and 7th, and also a 2026 2nd and 4th, and they got back a 2025 4th, which they used in the draft. Their free agency was pretty basic, except for the one massive one in Javon Kinlaw. 3 years, $45 million. I have some stats on Kinlaw because I just want to talk about this. We ripped it. We ripped it when we did our free agency show, as we should. And so I kind of dug into it. This is of defensive linemen who had 500 or more snaps. This includes run defense, mostly pass rush guys. And he had 30 total pressures, which was 35th out of 63 players. So kind of it is in the bottom half. And then I sorted by pass rush snaps. He had the 26th most snaps. So he is in the upper percentile of snaps, but in the lower half of pressure numbers. What are you getting out of this guy? $15 million. It's crazy, man. I still am sitting here that was. I think it's Adam Peters. I think this is a guy who banged the table for this guy in the draft when it happened, and he's I'm not quitting my guy. It's like when when I would become a GM and I'd be you know what? I mean, we gotta go get Isaiah Simmons. We gotta. So I get it, but it's still like just looking at the underlying numbers. It's still like staggering that it happened. Jonathan Jones, longtime Patriot, 1 year's $5 million. He comes in. He's going to be a boundary side corner. Dietrich Wise and Jacob Martin, kind of lumping them together because I'll talk about them in a minute. 3 years for Wise, 2.5 for Jacob Martin, and then Will Harris from my Saints, 2 years, $6 million. And they're drafted pretty quickly. Connerly in the first round.
Wait, Will Harris, the safety?
Mm-hmm.
He's still kicking it. No kidding.
Yeah, he
Anyways,
killed it with the Saints this past year. 2 years, $6 million is a bargain. I think so.
Really?
They drafted Connerly in the first round. One of my guys. They drafted Amos in the second round. Was he one of your guys? I feel like we remember talking about this.
Adamantly not one of my guys.
Okay.
I
Maybe
was
that's
lower
what it
on
is.
him than consensus. Yeah.
Maybe that's what it was. And then Jalen Lane in the fourth round, I kind of threw him in because that's the Houston pick they got in the Tunsil trade back. Their departures, pretty easy. Jonathan Allen, defensive tackle, 420 snaps, just like the Giants. I'll run through it. Like, they're going to have Kinlaw replace his snaps. Deemy Brown, 470 snaps. They're probably going to have, Noah Brown and Luke McCaffrey, who they drafted last year, replace those snaps. Jeremy Chin had over 1,000 snaps. That goes to Will Harris. Benjamin St. Juste, 836 snaps. That'll go to, I assume, Sandra still. And what is it, Jonathan Jones?
I hope not. I hope it doesn't go to Saints. I love Mikey, as you can tell. But one of my
guys, him to play the nickel?
Absolutely. Yeah, he absolutely should only play. Like, I love Mikey Sanders still. Again, one of my guys, not only because of the Michigan flag in the background, but because I genuinely thought he wasn't talked about enough, and I was proven correct. He does not have the size to play I love him. And
I thought he survived this year. I thought he did well.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you need him to do it, fine. But that is not, if you want him to succeed and put him in the best place possible for him, it is the nickel. And if you put him in the nickel, he will be a top 5 nickel in the league, would be my guess. Like, that's how good it can be in the nickel.
I think he'd be top 4, just to one-up you. No, and then Dante Fowler Jr., it kind of leads into my outlook question in a minute here. 563 snaps. I had 2 because, like, Super Bowl contender, sometimes I have 2 questions that I want answered from you. Number 1 was their edge, man. I hate their edge rushers. Like I said, they brought back Farrell, and they brought in Wise and Jacob Martin. And they let Dante Fowler walk, who was their most productive pass rusher last season, both in the regular season and the playoffs. And you're probably wondering, he's 30 years old. He probably signed a big contract. No, he signed with Dallas for 1 year, $6 million. It was easily attainable to re-sign your most productive edge rusher, and I get what they're doing. They're trying to moneyball this. They're trying to find 2 guys in an aggregate to kind of like we could recreate Dante Fowler Jr., and it should be easy, right? Except, like, you're a Super Bowl contending team. You told us that you're pushing for the Super Bowl, and now you're trying to find the value plays in free agency. I think you should have just signed I would have overpaid for Fowler. Frankly, like 2 years, 15, and we could get out of this next season if he declines in a major way. I would rather want to see him decline with their certain edge rusher, like their edge rush room right now, than just let him walk and let him go. Like, I thought that was iffy. And then the second one, you'll love this one. Can they survive possible Cliff Kingsbury offensive regression? Because the Cardinals in 2021 with Kingsbury, they won 11 games. They were 9th in EPA per play. 2022, they were 28th, and they were like close to the top pick. That was the year going into the 2023 draft where they could have taken Will Anderson 3. So, like, yeah, there's always fear with offensive regression, especially teams who overachieve the way the Commanders did. These wild card teams who kind of sneak in, even though Washington didn't sneak in, kind of like sneak in and kind of just like run through the table. You kind of like over-assess, and you're like, well, they're going to be clearly better next year because they traded for Laramie Tunsil and they traded for Debo Samuel, and they have Luke McCaffrey and Ben Sinnott, who they drafted last year, and they barely used those guys. Sometimes that happens, but those guys could produce too. But I have like these two devils on my shoulder where it's like, yeah, I kind of think a regression comes over, but maybe Jaden Daniels is too good to suck. Frankly, watching him, no matter the coach, I think his style of just the way he plays on rhythm as a passer, the way he is he supercomputers it sometimes. Like he just gets the ball on time, and it's really simple and quick and easy, and maybe that gets figured out and someone really like puts a stranglehold on that specific offense. But you can't really do that because of how dynamic he is in the open field as a runner. He has that Lamar ability where he just glides around guys, and he just like he had the joke before the draft was like, oh, he takes too many Looney Tunes hits, and then in the NFL, it felt like nobody could touch him. Like the Buccaneers play was a perfect example where the only thing the guy could grab was the flag or the towel, and it felt like flag football. Like I got him, I got the flag. No, you got to bring him down, but it's. He might be too productive and too efficient to tank an offense because he is the offense. He is the engine that makes the Commanders go. So I'm interested in both of those things. If the edge rusher position really tanks them from winning a Super Bowl, do they make a move at the deadline? Because they were aggressive in acquiring Lattimore last year. We don't forget. And and Cliff's regression could possibly hit them, but are you looking up their picks?
Yeah, I'm doing that right now. So I don't know. The two so the one I agree with right now is so they have their first round we have their first round, a third round, a fifth round, a sixth round in this incoming draft.
Oh.
So they're out their second and their fourth, which is rough. I mean, I guess you could trade your third round pick for someone, but are you like, what value are you getting from an elite edge for a third round pick at that point?
Yeah.
I don't know. But the Cliff Kingsbury, as you had mentioned, was exactly where like my head went when I was thinking about this team. I am adamantly against Cliff Kingsbury because as fun as it is to watch the college offense, I mean, we had this conversation a couple nights ago. I mean, the Lane Kiffin air raid offense, stuff like that, love it. It is some of my favorite stuff to watch. But it is, once it is figured out and you know what you're doing, it's short gain. Okay, we're going to beat you deep. and that's what it is. Once you figure out how to stop it, you're done. But again, the question as you asked was, how good is JD to stop that? Like, is he good enough to say it doesn't matter because I'm the best quarterback?
Yeah.
But the other question I had is kind of the opposite, I guess, of the Giants that we had just discussed. I do not like their defense. There's a lot of question. Like, you're really getting manned by a Bobby Wagner who played way better than what anyone could have expected from him. Are you banking on that to happen again? And again, I wonder how much of it is, again, that opposite of the Giants where it's, let's invest into the offense. Okay, Dan Quinn, we know you're a defensive guy. Here are some pieces. Go ahead and try to figure it out. And the defense really, really scares me, especially if you start getting into shootouts or you let a team, let's say the Eagles in the playoffs, hang up 45 points on you. It's scary. But do you want to go row by row, or how do you want to do this?
Again, I always love doing the fours. We just do 4. Yeah, the bye week is kind of weird. We'll do 4s all the way until the bye. So I'll start it off.
Yeah.
I have them, of course, beating the Giants. I have them losing on Thursday Night Football to Green Bay. I have them beating the Raiders, and then I have them beating the Falcons. So I would have them starting 3-1 going into the Chargers game.
Okay. Let me figure this out. Ryan, I have Ryan's schedule, and he kind of just threw a bit of a curveball at me here. I wish it was weekly format. That's besides the point. For me with the Commanders, I have them winning. Yeah, I just I wish it was broken down a bit better, but that's besides the point. I have them beating the Giants, losing to the Packers, beating the Raiders and the Falcons. So I have them starting off 3-1.
Exact same.
And yeah, the exact same. And Ryan has them the exact same as well. 3-1 as well. So we're all the same, 3-1 through the first 4 weeks. Look at us, guys. So
then we get into the next 3 or 4. I have them beating the Chargers. I have them beating the Bears. Sorry, Ryan. I have them starting 5-1. But then I'm going to have them lose these back-to-back games in Dallas, in Kansas City on Monday Night Football. They're going to be sitting at, 5-3.
Gotcha. So I have them beating the Chargers as well, but I do have them losing to the Bears. I think this is going to be a bit of a revenge game from what had happened last year when Tyreek Stevenson was too, worried about chatting with the fans and the Hail Mary play. I remember watching that live. That was ridiculous. So it's a little bit of a revenge from them. And then I'm right there with you. I do have them losing to the Cowboys and Chiefs. So I have them 4-4 through the first 8 weeks. Ryan has them losing to the Chargers, or winning against the Chargers, losing to the Bears, winning against the Cowboys, and losing to the Chiefs.
Okay. And then just to speak on your Hail Mary thing, like, I know we blame Tyreek Stevenson, and we should. Like, he was chatting with the fans. I'm Mr. Pro Blitz there. Like, come on. Eberflus, grow.
Yes, you can't send 3 guys there.
Yes,
You're letting him sit in the pocket all day.
Yes.
Sorry.
I'm pro blitz. Even if that worked, like, remember when it worked with like Henry Ruggs? We're getting off topic, but like the Raiders beat the Jets one time when they blitzed, and then Greg Williams got fired.
Yes.
I'm pro blitz though. I'm pro blitz on Hail Marys all the time. So I'll just say that. Where are we? Seattle. I think they beat Seattle on Sunday Night Football. And then they're gonna lose their next 2 going into the bye. They're gonna lose at home against Detroit. Detroit revenge game. And then they're going to lose in Madrid to the Dolphins. 6-5 at their bye.
There you go. So I right there with you with the 6-5. I have them beating the Seahawks, losing to the Lions, and then beating the Dolphins. Ryan will have them beating the Seahawks, losing to the Lions, and also beating the Dolphins. So he's right there with me, step by step, with those 3 games leading up to the bye there.
All right, and then closing this out, they beat Denver. They beat Minnesota. I'm going to have them lose to the Giants, as I mentioned before. I think they're then going to lose to Philly. They're going to win on Christmas against Dallas. And then their over-under right now is 9.5, and it's exact even odds. It's -110 both sides on FanDuel. So this is 9-7 to get to 10-7 or to be 9-8. This will decide everybody's over-unders. I have them beating Philadelphia. I have being 10-7, playoff contender. Again, we haven't done the Eagles and Cowboys, so I don't know what to look at, and these schedule's pretty tough. Maybe they don't win the division, but unlikely. But 10-7, they're certainly in the hunt to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's a bit uncanny. I've been beating the Broncos, Vikings, and Giants, losing to the Eagles and Cowboys, and beating the Eagles there to end the season, putting them at a record of 10-7, pushing forward the playoffs. I promise, guys, we did not plan that. So I mean, me and you view this team, I mean, basically the exact same there.
Yeah.
And then Ryan has, if we can find it, a loss to the Broncos, a loss to the Vikings. Wow. Victory against the Giants, lost the Eagles. They pick up the victory against the Cowboys and then lose the Eagles again. So they get swept by the Eagles. And he has them finishing, again, pretty close to us, just one game behind. He has them finishing 9-8. He says that he has them a little bit of a sophomore slump for them is what to expect. Probably just a Jaden Daniels thing if I had to guess. But still within play 9-8, I think you're probably teetering a little bit more on the edge, and you're really hoping for a little bit of, week 18 magic happening for your team.
Especially if you lose.
But again,
yeah.
I mean, we all. Yes. Oh yeah. But we all see this team the same, which is shocking because I know there are plenty of people that are very, very high on this team, but I think we all have those concerns with Cliff Kingsbury. We all have those concerns with this defense and them not adding the proper amount of pieces. And I hate to say it, how much does a Deebo Samuel actually add at this point? I mean, not to be that guy. I mean, I weigh a lean 200 and something pounds, not to dox myself, but Deebo's looking a little bit chubby. So, so I don't want to be a jerk there, but I don't even know how much Deebo's gonna add, but it'll be interesting to see where this team ends up. Do we want college corner or do we want to do Pigskin?
You're bugging out a little bit. What are you saying?
Do you want to do college stuff or do you want to do Weddle first?
I think we got to do college stuff.
College stuff. All right. I have two kind of overall college points to talk about. One is not the most fun topic, but one's a super fun topic that we spent 3 hours talking about, rambling nonsensical stuff at the other day. But the first one is BYU's quarterback, who's going to be their projected starter. A lot of people were very high on BYU, really thought they could get things done. But now their quarterback first got kicked off of the team for breaking the honor code because he had premarital hanky-panky. But then he got charges against him for SA, which were then later dropped, but then it had come out that it was settled outside of court. So for BYU, not a very fun situation because their quarterback room does not look good at all. And then for Jake more specifically, his college career is probably done at this point. I don't know if a team is even willing to touch him with a 10-foot pole, even though the charges are no longer there. So it's just a weird situation for both guys. Again, Jake's probably never playing, and BYU, you just went from some of people's favorite dark horses to now a team that is really going to be scratching for some wins because of your quarterback room being as awful as it is. But your thoughts on the BYU team as a whole this year?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's the coin flip conference. So I mean, they could do a lot of things, but yeah, obviously replacing their quarterback is now number one priority if they even can. I don't know if they can, to be honest. But with the amount of portals, I think Ross Dellinger reported there's another portal today. There's a portal for like student athletes or something like that, which is kind of like walk-ons. I interpreted it as like this is for walk-ons who aren't going to make big rosters, but specifically for BYU. Losing your quarterback who played a lot of good football for you last year. They won 10 games. They played Colorado in the bowl game and won. It's interesting. I mean, you're absolutely taking a step back. I don't know about like, if Retzloff doesn't play again, I think teams are always looking for good quarterbacks. Like, and I think he's pretty decent. He's a redshirt senior, so it's like, does he Pavia it? Does he go to like JUCO and like say, "Give me a year, give me another year, please"? I was in JUCO. Like that doesn't count. That's not how this works. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll get that lucky, but that was something that it's interesting, and it like again, I don't know the full details, so I don't want to speculate on anything, but it sucks for BYU the program specifically more than anything.
Yeah, absolutely. It's rough. But then the other thing, which on a way brighter note, which we spent like an ungodly amount of time, any more than what a sane individual should spend talking about this topic in one sitting. The group of 5 teams. I mean, everyone has their own darlings of who they think their group of 5 team is going to be. A lot of people think it's going to be Boise. They had it figured out. That people really love the quarterback coming back. Well, Boise's can do it again. For me, and I'll just jump right into it, I think it's going to be Navy. I really, really like Navy. I looked at Navy's schedule. There are only 2 games that I question. There's Notre Dame game. That's going to be a loss. I hate to break it to you, Navy. You're not beating Notre Dame. You're not that guy, pal. But then the only other game on that schedule that worries me is Memphis, another team that people love to say is their group of 5 team. And me and you had talked about this. Only 7 of their 21 starters on either side of the football are like returning players. The other 15 of those are transfers in from this year. Their entire offensive line is transferring in. Their entire tight end room is transferring in. Half of their defense are transferred in. It's just so as much as I want to get behind Memphis, and it can work. It worked for IU this past year. They bought in a lot of the transfers, given a lot of those guys were JMU guys that Kurt already knew. It's going to be really hard to get yourself in the playoffs when you only have 7. I don't even want to say returning starters. You only have 7 starters on the team that were here previously. It's going to be rough. But that's why I think it's going to be Navy. I love their schedule. They're a good a and I think it's going to be a lot of fun if we can get a Service Academy in the playoffs. But your group of 5 team.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think it's going to. So this was a team we didn't really discuss too often, but Dan Mullins at UNLV, and what he did this offseason was get a million portal players and Alex Orji. Like, literally, if you go on their R-Lads, it is fluttered with gold. It is fluttered with just gold everywhere. I'm looking at least like 40 transfer names coming in. So I don't know every one of them, but again, UNLV faces Boise. There again, that felt like a crossroads moment for the group of 5 last year when Boise had to go into Allegiant Stadium to face UNLV, and then they face again in Boise for the Mountain West title. And Boise was kind of just a step ahead, but like Boise's the overwhelming favorite. I think they have the guys who have been there. Spencer Danielson, their coach, is phenomenal. They still have Madsen. Just overall, like, but they're losing Genty, so it's hard to project them as a team. I think Tulane is a team to mention in the group of 5. Like it's tough. I think taking lottery shots on the group of 5 this year to make the playoff is the perfect way to do it. And I wanna do something really quick. So
JMU too, man. JMU's my other team that I love.
See, we talked about JMU. Alonzo Barnett being out is tough. Like, I think he's good. Yeah. And like they're replacing him with Sluka, who played in, like, who beat Kansas last year. So it's like he didn't do nothing, but yeah. It's tough, especially in that conference. How much respect do you get out of the Sun Belt? I don't know. But I think they're overwhelming favorites to win the Sun Belt. I'll give you that. But there's one more college football talk we have to talk about. Okay? I think you know what it is. Let me see if I can find it.
Is it the Jeremiah Smith stuff?
No. It's the fact Texas State joined the Pac-12, and Ben left me. He didn't want to hear my Texas State rant. Texas State accepted the invite to the Pac-12. Again, known Pacific Coast juggernaut, Texas State in San Marcos, Texas, joins, of course, the two already known members in Oregon and Oregon State, Washington State, and then the 4 or 5 Mountain West teams who are coming over: San Diego State, Fresno State, Utah State, Colorado State, Boise State. It's a lot of states. I think that's why they pursued Texas State, to be honest. So, again, interesting to see Texas State, Pacific Coast juggernaut, join the Pac-12, and of course Gonzaga is up at the top, but that's just basketball only. There's still going to be FCS for football. So this was something I wanted to mention. I think we're getting Ben here, quick and hopeful. He got struck down. He was terrified to talk about my Texas State Bobcats.
Yeah, no, we were asking too much for the camera and the Wi-Fi to be on for the entire
no.
We were asking too much. But I was so happy when I saw this. I mean, we joked about it. Like, when I saw Texas State join the Pac-12, I'm like, Matt is going to be happy. Matt is the biggest Texas State fan. Yeah, Matt is the biggest Texas State fan I know, given he is the only Texas State fan.
Yeah.
I know. Isn't the Pac-12 so much fun now? And I like that for the most part, it is still fairly regional, unlike some of the other conferences now.
Well, yes, I was making the joke. Known Pacific Coast dominator, San Marcos, Texas. So, like, that's what's exciting. Again, like, I'm so excited for when Stanford plays Cal again this year, because, like, that's an Atlantic Coast Conference game. It's tremendous. It's tremendous every time.
Like too, which is going to be.
And they played it last year, and that was the Fernando Mendoza crying game. Do you remember that? Your quarterback. I love going down 98 yards for the boys. That was tremendous. We love Fernando Mendoza on this podcast. Future first-round pick, Fernando Mendoza.
Whoa. I'm not going that far.
No? And then you kind of mentioned it before I went. So I think I have a screenshot of it. The Jeremiah Smith stuff. So I thought this was news. Like, why not? Let's talk about it. So this was the quote from him. This is from Jeremiah Smith's mouth. "I'm not a sore loser, but I hate losing. And losing to that team up north was pretty crazy," Smith said. "In the end, I think it really helped us play the way we did in the playoffs, but I didn't want to go to Ohio State just to lose to that team up north. I just hate them. Just something about them. For the next 2 years, I promise you, I will not lose to them. I can't lose to them in the next 2 years." Yeah. What were your thoughts on this, Ben?
I chuckled. I laughed when I saw that. Are you kidding me? You could talk all you want. If you couldn't beat us last year, what does that say about anything this year, right? Like, last year, that was a bad Michigan team last year. It was not good.
Dude.
You couldn't beat us last year with a better roster than you will have a better roster, or you will have had a better roster last year than what you will this year. And I don't think that's a hot take. I still think OSU is going to be fine. We had a conversation, though, about OSU maybe being worse than what people expect. If you're going to lose to Michigan like you did last year, you can't be putting out this garbage when you have a worse team and Michigan's going to have a better team. I'm sorry, Jeremiah Smith. I love you. You're going to be a lot of fun. You might be the first wide receiver taken first overall in a very, very long time. But you're just spewing hot garbage at this point. What are we talking about?
No, I watched that game recently because, like, it was around my birthday. Because on my birthday, I watched the Georgia-Alabama Classic again. I sat by myself, and that's how I wanted to spend my birthday, watching college football. Even though, like, I don't get blessed with college football in the summer. But I watched that game, like, a few days after, and it's like you're watching it live, and you're just like, Wait, they lose this game? they lose this game. No, and like after the Jack Sawyer interception happens,
Yeah.
no way they lose this game. They ended up losing the game. They end up getting in the fight. I still hate the Gus Johnson call. Like they didn't cheat this time. Like,
Yeah.
come on, dude.
Yes,
That was...
yes. That made me so upset in the moment.
No, I think he's right though. I'm talking about Jeremiah Smith. I think he's right. In the way like it really helped us play the way we did in the playoff. I think there was real anger, and I think there was like, and again like, Notre Dame and Ohio State played for the national championship last year. Notre Dame lost to Northern Illinois, and Ohio State lost to Michigan, in which they were 21-point favorites. Like, I just, that's my thing. I'm throwing my hands up with the 12-team playoff. We don't need to keep expanding this stuff. To me, I've said it. Can we get 6? You know, like I've always, I've like 6 is the perfect number. Okay, like we can
1 and 2 get the bye, and then the 4.
The SEC title winner. It adds what is it? It adds value again. So like, there's 3 auto bids. The number 1 seed and the number 2 seed would likely be the winners of the SEC Big Ten championship. There's 1 automatic qualifier to either the ACC champion or the Big 12 champion, and then you get 3 at-larges, which would likely go to all SEC Big Ten teams. But hey, what if there's a year where Texas Tech is 11-1 and wins their championship? Like, they should get in too. The only thing is the group of 5 would never agree on it. Like I've always said, I think we should have 2 16 playoffs. I think the group of 5 should have their own 16 playoff because they're playing different sports. They recruit different players. They do different things. Like, they're different. It's different layers of football. Like, honestly. And it's not quite the gap between college football and the NFL, but there is still a wide enough gap that I can say with my chest pretty confidently we're not going to see a group of 5 team in the Final 4 ever, really, because it's just it's not basketball. I'm sorry. It is what it is.
I think there might be a chance in a crazy world in which people get hurt every single game, but I 100% agree. The level of football it's not there, right? Like it is way too different levels of play. Even I know specifically for this Ohio State Michigan game, by the way. That one was so because at halftime, that's when they went right down the field and they scored right before halftime. Ohio State did.
Yep.
And I remember texting you guys and being like, it's over now. Now they figured out, hey, let's just throw it to the best player in college football. Michigan's cooked. And then they didn't. They were like, let's not do that. We just saw that worked for the entire drive for us.
Ryan Day's ego murdered himself. To him. It was just that's what it was. His ego, he was like, well, I gotta beat him this way. Oh, we gotta be tougher than him. We're Ohio men. We gotta be tougher. And you weren't, dude. And so but again, that was a fun month, man. That was technically 2 months. They had 2 months of fire Ryan Day. And I remember tweets and videos of Ohio State. I don't care if they make it in and win the national championship. We got to fire this guy. And then they win the national championship and it just doesn't matter anymore. That's where I'm at is bring back Ohio State losing to Michigan in that game should ruin your season. And we talked about this last year. Remember with the Northern Illinois is Northern Illinois beating you on your home field should just destroy your season. It really should. And it didn't for Notre Dame.
You shouldn't be allowed to make the playoffs.
They got a second chance, but that's the world we live in. They got to get the 12 best teams in. Yeah. That's how it works. So I'll pull up Weddle here. And
yes. Do you really quickly?
So Ryan, this contributes. I see you commenting. This Weddle contributes to scores. So you're missing out, dude. All right.
Yeah. This is on you. I don't know. Maybe watch what you eat next time.
Wow.
Really quickly. Do you have a college football team? It was Texas State last year. It was Coastal Carolina for me. It was a really fun night last night helping Ryan figure it out because Ryan had parameters of like
Who's
the
my
team
like
can't
for the
have
video
one more
game?
than yeah.
They're on my hat, dude. What are we talking about?
You're in Texas State again?
Yes, I'm on Texas State every year.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Yeah, figuring that out with Ryan last night was great because he asked ChatGPT, he's like, what are teams that haven't won 5 games or more than 6 games in the last 5 years? And immediately UNLV. And I was like, wrong. And then he pulled it
That's
up
what
and
you
like
gotta
the next
You
list
gotta
was like
pick a team.
ASU.
Yeah.
Wrong.
You got to pick a team like, you know what you got to pick a group of 5 team from either California, Texas, or Florida. And I think like that it's like the realism of like, oh, you can recruit well and get into like the higher conference. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of my thing.
Do I run Coastal Carolina back this year? Because Middle Tennessee is the team I'm really looking forward to rebuilding. I don't know why. Maybe it's the Reed Blankenship of it all. But like, do I start with Coastal again? I mean, I set every record I possibly could in that game with Coastal.
Yeah, it's fair. I mean, I feel like I have things left on the table for Texas State. You know what I'm saying? Like
Gotcha.
I never even moved them to like the bigger conferences. I should have done that. So I have unfinished business. If you have finished business with Coastal Carolina, I think you should do Middle Tennessee State. The CUSA.
Good.
Bring the CUSA
Yeah.
back.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I told you I had like the all-time passing leader with my quarterback, the all-time rushing leader, the all-time wide receiver leader. We're in the SEC, 2 back-to-back winless or a lot winless, 2 back-to-back seasons where we didn't lose one game and won the national championship. But it was just got to a point. I was like, yeah, okay, we did all.
Also, yeah, if you're looking for a team, shout out North Texas. They have cool uniforms and they're in Texas. So we're just yapping
Kelly
on live. We
Green.
gotta get to Weddle,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah. Kelly Green and an Eagle. Go North Texas. Yes, please. Weddle. Anyways.
All right, do you want to start it off?
Yeah. Devontae Smith.
Ooh, all right. So he's 7 or 8.
Will Levis.
No, wrong conference, dude. So he's in the NFC. I'm thinking. I shouldn't
Whoa!
do it this. Oh!
Whoa! We can't hear
So
him.
cold.
His mic is off.
The glass broke.
Whoa! The tummy is settled.
Wait, no, my mic is totally working, right?
Now
You guys
it's
can
working.
totally
It
hear me.
wasn't.
Now
It
you
wasn't
can.
at first.
No.
Yeah.
I just booted up my computer. That's totally why. I'm
There you
surprised my legs worked. I'm not gonna lie. Anyways, yeah.
Anyways.
Whose turn is it? Yeah. I'm trying to hide
Uh,
my work uniform.
go.
I don't speak for them.
I think it's like quarterback. Like, is it tall quarterback? Who wears 7 or
Tall
8?
quarterback in the NFC. Not in the East, North. Could it be Mr. Jared Goff? No.
It's too old.
No.
I don't know. I'm struggling with it. Oh my god. I know
Jordan-
who it
Jordan
is.
Love?
I know
No.
who it is.
Kyler Murray. No, the height doesn't work.
I got it.
Kyle Pitts?
Oh, Kyle Pitts. Ah.
Yeah.
Kyle Armpits? Is he available for trade? Is he not? Who knows?
What do you think they would get for him? I thought about
Like
that.
a
Really?
third?
No.
No. I'd say no.
I don't know. Yeah, I'd probably say no.
I mean, Johnny just went for a 5th. I don't know. Maybe a 4th or 5th. 5th?
Yeah, you'd have to
5th would
extend
be
him
my
too.
guess.
All right. I'll start it
Yeah,
off.
5th. Anyways.
We're gonna shoot Taysom. Oh,
Whoa!
Whoa!
All right.
My goodness!
All right,
Wait,
so
could it
there
be?
goes my
Could it
Gavon
be?
Dexter.
what?
Could it be? Could it be Kyle Pitts? Kyle Pitts! Kyle Pitts!
Kyle Pitts Day. What?
Please!
Wow.
Yes!
Nice. What a snipe.
What an episode to get a win
Doubling
on.
up on
That's what we
Pitts.
love to see. You hopped in for what, right?
Yeah, apparently nothing. What a crazy wow.
Ah, put it in the checkbook, baby. What is it? 3, 2, 1. Me.
Has it
come
ever
back,
done
me, you?
that?
Yeah, 3, 2, 1. Yeah,
Oh.
that's gonna be the only thing I have in the notes. That's crazy.
Wait.
Uh,
All right.
so yeah,
I've
wow.
never seen that ever.
Dude, his birthday's October 6th. It's not like a birthday thing.
It's not as yeah.
What?
Wait,
Couple
really quickly,
things.
Ryan.
Yeah.
Commanders versus
Yeah.
Bears. How are we feeling?
Revenge game. It's loading. You guys were right about their defense. Defense is booty. Our offense is good. Our defense is good. It's like that Friends scene where Joey's eating the cake. That's just a monstrosity. It's, what's the line? You guys have seen it. What's the line?
I've seen it where he's
What's-
like, where yes, yeah, where he's
like
like
beef,
it's
good. Like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
yeah, because the page
but-
gets ripped in half, and yeah,
What is it? Yeah, he
Meat
said
good, mashed
custard
potatoes
good, jam good, meat good. Yeah, you guys know what
Yeah.
that is. That's my state on the Bears. So like you guys will get a sneak peek of that in a couple weeks. So that's pretty cool. Hey Ben, by the way, nice camera, bud. So
I
lastly,
told you I would.
Don't.
Turn it off next week.
anyways,
Body
yeah,
bag.
San Jose State is my team for the record. Just wanted to put
Good
that
call.
out there. I'm just running
Not
it
the
back.
playoff team, ASU.
Yeah, not them. Oh god, dude. Yeah. What else was there? Yeah, Giants are garbage, like really bad. And what is it? Is it Joe? How do you pronounce his last name? Joe Shane?
Shane.
Yeah, his son needs to be the GM. Just saying.
He
Putting it out
wanted
there.
Jane Daniels.
I'm just saying.
That's who he
So
wanted.
did everybody. I love that clip, but like
I was lower on him, which
Yeah.
looks dumb now. Like I didn't think he was
Mm-hmm.
gonna be bad, but like people loved him. I was like, okay, let's pump the brakes. Drake
yeah,
made
I
it
had him.
better.
I had him in like
but-
the 10. Like I had him like
Yeah.
what was it? He had a first round grade for me. He was like 10 or 11, but I was still like, listen, the Patriots and Commanders need quarterbacks so bad they need to just take him.
I agree.
I did
yeah.
have May way over him.
Thank you.
What's the other thing that I wanted to say? Oh, so our schedule. Should we just reveal our schedule now, or we do it week by week? What do we think? I didn't bring this up to you guys beforehand, but now that we have the schedule set in stone, should we go that?
Yeah, let's go.
Should we go over that?
Yeah.
So obviously next week we're finishing off the NFC East with the Cowboys and Eagles. I will definitely be here for that. Hopefully, as long as I don't get messed up by Chipotle again. AFC South as a whole, we're going to be doing whole divisions. That will be starting July 16th, so episode 166, not next week, but the week after. And then 167, we'll be doing the entire NFC South. 168 and 169 will be split between the AFC North, starting with the Bengals and Browns on July 30th, and then Ravens and Steelers on August 6th on 169. Nice. And then 170 and 171 will be split between the NFC North, starting with the Vikings and Lions, and then finishing up our record predictions with the Bears and Packers. And then following that, August 27th will be our season predictions for both the NFL and college football. I believe this is just shy of week 0, right? Week
That's
0 is
after
the
week
28th, so
0.
the day before. This is the day before, according to my schedule. I could definitely be wrong because you guys are college football fanatics, so probably wrong. But
It's right after.
Um,
Right after.
so we're doing our award predictions, our playoff predictions for the NFL, and the college football playoff predictions as well. And then September 3rd will be week 1. So pretty excited for that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We are 9 weeks away, ladies and gentlemen, from week 1. So, it's going to
2
be
months,
here
baby.
a lot sooner. Yeah, it's going to be a lot sooner than we think. And then, yeah, I don't know. Pretty excited for that. We put that together recently. Yeah, I don't know. Any other thoughts, guys? I don't know. I feel like I just came in here on 10 just being like, here's everything I was thinking about while I was doing other things.
What were those other things?
It's, I mean,
It's a pretty crappy situation.
It seems to.
Exactly what he said. That's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah, college football comes out a week from tomorrow. We were talking about that a little bit. I don't know if you guys had said that or not, because
Yeah, we were
Yeah.
talking about our teams. Ben's cooked
Yeah.
chat. So
yeah.
also like send to our like Twitters.
Is it
Send
me
us
or is
stuff
that
to,
Matt?
like-
It's gone.
That's
What?
you, buddy.
Ah.
That's you, Chief.
Ah.
Send things to react to for football. Like send lists. I like reacting to lists and providing lists to these two guys. I feel like that's fun to do.
You want to react to this Robert Griffin III rookie card that I got today? Or not today, but a while ago?
Oh
That's
no, are we
awesome.
doing this? Are we doing the list?
The list. What are we talking about?
What? Oh no! What did RG3 do?
Oh, I thought you were talking about the offensive list.
I could find it.
Let's save it for next week. We're an hour 30 minutes deep. This is what happens when the two of us are here and Ryan isn't
We just
here to rein us
yapped,
in.
dude.
This is Ryan reins us in. Ryan keeps us on track. This is the importance of
Dude,
we
yeah.
just get like that 10 minutes before Weddle was awful. We were like, let's do Weddle and spent 10 minutes talking about who knows
We
what.
got unhinged, guys.
Dude, you're
Yeah, I
lucky
had
you
to come
came in here
and-
now. It's like me and Ben were gonna talk about Luka Ayton pick and roll sets this year.
Oh, and how they're about to break the NBA record for most teams.
This is a football
Did
podcast,
you see
gentlemen. If
that?
we're done with
This is
football
funny.
stuff, we should wrap this up. What are we doing? Your team won the
Stretch- we
championship.
gotta
Why are
stretch
we
the
talking
90.
about
Oh, coming
DeAndre
from the
Ayton?
guy that's
We
been
gotta
on the
stretch to the
podcast
90
for
minutes.
7 minutes. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. I mean, I'm all good. It was fun. It was yapping. It was always excited to have you back on. Hopefully next week,
Yeah.
if you don't, do something too bad
You know.
to yourself.
You know.
But it was a fun episode. Fun episode. Excited to talk about the birds. Excited to talk about more college football news because I'm sure something will come out.
God, I hope so.
Yeah, and we'll kick it over to Matt.
This has been the Pigskin Project.
Yeah. Thank you guys for listening. Yeah. Oh, by the way, boys, I know I
Sponsors.
talked to you privately about it, but I'll break the news here. So like I said to you guys that I was not gonna go week by week with the Bears and set expectations for myself. I was scrolling through TikTok one night and found a week by week prediction that I'm like, yeah, I think that's okay. So it's reasonable, it's doable, and I will be saving it for that
Okay.
episode that I brought up. I don't remember the exact number, but
You did it? You
early
predicted it already?
August.
Or you're gonna
I-
bring up someone else's? Okay.
I'm not bringing up I'm not taking their week by week, but I'm
Okay.
taking that number and being like, yeah, I like this. That's a nice number. Hint, it's not in the double digits wins. Anyways, so in the win column, not in the double digits. Anywho, all right. Yeah, we're just gonna roll this out before I make this. Let's last a little bit longer. This has been the Pigskin Project, episode 164. I'm happy to be on here for all of 10 minutes. That was awesome. Thank you guys for listening. We want to thank Spotify for Podcasters, Regional Radio Sports Network, and Uppercut Grooming for helping us grow as a podcast. Thanks to Chipotle for nothing, and we'll see you guys next week.